Hello, good morning. Welcome to this live taste challenge, late morning taste challenge. I had the reason it didn't want to work. Got hung up. Well, we're not going to be here too long because college football is starting in a few minutes. So here's Canadian blended whiskey, 80 proof, introduced in 1961. This is the new bottle design with the real cork and the real bottle cap. They used to have a longer neck thing like this, but not anymore. Skinny side, wide front. No age statement, no website listing. Bottled in Kentucky by County Line Distillers. $15.99 at, well, when I bought it, prices have been going up. But $15.99 at Hocus Pocus Spirits in Prairieville, Louisiana. Here's Blender's Mash, Bourbon Mash, Crown Royal Bourbon Mash, introduced in 2018. 80 proof, no age statement either, but there is a website listing, and I got the link below. This is the old label, Bourbon Mash. Mathern's had a couple of these left. They don't sell it anymore. Then they were forced to change the name to something else, and they chose Blender's Mash. It's basically Crown Royal's attempt to make a Canadian bourbon, but not call it bourbon. But they didn't get away with calling it Bourbon Mash for very long. Beautiful bottle design. Got to give them credit. It's a twist cap, plastic twist cap. It's got the signature of the blender series. I don't know what's in the blender series because all these companies always start these series and then nothing happens with it. They did the same thing in Newcastle Brown Ale, like Brewmaster Series #1. Well, there was never a #2. Toronto, Canada. Anyway, special blend, richly layered, perfectly balanced. Complexity of a bourbon. From Diageo. Cannot be called a bourbon because legally bourbon can only be made in the United States of America. If you were 1 mile across the bridge in Windsor, Canada, and you produced a bourbon, you could not sell it as bourbon. You would have to call it Canadian whiskey, okay, of some sort. And it would be blended. Bourbon is blended usually because it's a blend of what? Corn. Now, it doesn't have to be. Could be 100% corn, no problem. But usually it's a blend of corn, rye, single malt, barley malt whiskey, and sometimes wheat, or any combination of those. It doesn't matter what combination you would like to do or make or produce. The only requirement is anyone. There's only one requirement for bourbon as far as the ingredients. There's also a second requirement for the barrels. But contrary to popular belief, bourbon does not have to be aged at least 2 years. Only straight bourbon has to be aged at least 2 years. We can see the bourbon mash, now known as Blender's Mash, is a copper, and the Canadian Peak is gold. So we got darker versus lighter. So I'm gonna have to close my eyes. Oh, price. Blender's Mash. It's running like about $28 a bottle, yes. Just like the black. So is it really worth an extra $12? My thinking initially, without doing the taste challenges, it is not worth the extra 12 over Canadian Peak, but we're going to see. Now, both of these are probably hard to find now. 2 years ago, 3 years ago, Bourbon Mash, I could get it all around. Walmart had it. Don't see it anymore. I don't recall seeing it lately. Mathern's had it. They don't have it no more. Uh, Canadian Peak, you're really going to have a hard time finding that. It's not sold anywhere in this parish. I have never seen it in New Orleans. I've only seen it once in my life. All right, but if it's around in Prairieville, Louisiana, which is a small town, you know it's got to be in some big towns. You would assume. Yeah, cereal green, kind of musty, old furniture smell. Old furniture. Oh, rich, sweet corn, whiskey saturated wood. Did he smell alike? Not really. Which one smells better? I don't know. All right, taste time. Oh, and my record right now, 9-2. 9 wins, 2 losses. This is the 12th and final, which means I guess I got 13 Canadian whiskeys opened already. I have some unopened, you see. Sweet corn, vanilla, oak, little dried fruitcake fruit, honeysuckle nectar. Yeah. Yeah. Ah ha ha. Ah ha ha. It tastes like bourbon. Ah ha ha. What bourbon? Well, I could say it tastes like bullet, but I never had that before. I seen it everywhere. I never tried it. He said that's pitiful. It's pitiful, but it's the truth. I never tried Maker's Mark. And you say you're a whiskey reviewer. Well, you gotta get. I never had Knob Creek. Oh, people are saying, "What is this going on around here?" Hey, but I tried Old Charter last week. Old Charter. That's a famous brand. And the trademark, I checked it. I checked the data. It was like 1879. No, 1874. True story. I checked the trademark. United States government trademark mark office issued the trademark in 1874. Oh yeah. But we're not gonna see Old Charter for a little while. Um, I'm telling you, you could give this to somebody and say, "What is this?" They would say, "Oh, that's a good bourbon." Ooh, they say, "Whose bourbon is that?" I love it. I love it too. I just think it's great, but it's not a bourbon. I have now, nor have I ever in the past declared that this was a bourbon. I have not now. No, 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 no. I said it tasted like they're using a bourbon mash bill, which they are, and I said it tastes like bourbon. Oh no, my friends, I never said it was a bourbon. But it could be if it was made in the United States, but it was not. This is made in the Dominion of Canada, and so it cannot be called a bourbon. Could you make a Scotch type whiskey when but would not be able to be called Scotch? They do it in Japan all the time. Most of these Japanese whiskeys are modeled upon Scotch because the Scottish guys went over there and taught the Japanese how to make whiskey. Just like a lot of German guys went to China and taught them how to make beer, lager beer. So, and to Mexico too, you know. So, but you can't call it Scotch because it's made in Japan. And there was a big brouhaha about Japanese whiskey because there was a big controversy that the Japanese whiskey wasn't really Japanese, but now they cracked down and passed a new law saying, well, you see, it has to actually be using Japanese ingredients and it has to be made in Japan and bottled in Japan. It can't just be like, you know, owned by some Japanese company, you know. So, but I really didn't have much relationship with that controversy, or if I lived in England, that controversy, because I never really drank Japanese whiskey, except if I'm at my friend David's house and he was letting me sample like the Tokai and the, you know, the Hibiki Harmony and those type of things. But he doesn't buy it anymore. He said it's so expensive, you know. But I loved every one I tried. I got to say, I loved them all. The Canadian Peak is good now. I'm not going to say anything bad about it. I mean, it's not ideal or anything. It's not like the greatest and the most in the top of the pops, you know, the top or most of the pop or most. It's not like that. It's not like the exploding plastic inevitable, but it's nice. And for $15.99, I could deal with it. And I am dealing with it, and very happily, I must say. Let's see. Now the Blender's Mash, formerly known as the Bourbon Mash, but you still can find bottles. I know where to go and find bottles of Bourbon Mash. Right there at International Market. They still got bottles from years ago that say Bourbon Mash right on the bottle. And it's about $28. That's right. That's a true story. This really is great. It's got nut, but you see, they both have nut oil flavors. Yeah. Now, did they add flavor into the Blender's Mash? I could never tell you that because I would never know that because that's not a requirement. They don't have to disclose that. Canadian whiskey don't have to disclose. I mean, they could if they feel like it, like with the Northern Lights Canadian blended whiskey or Canadian Gold, things like that. But they don't have to. All right. Bourbon Mash, Blender's Mash. Yeah, 10 and 2. 10 and 2. I present to you 10 wins and only 2 losses. 10 wins and only 2 losses. Not a great record. A great record would be 12 and 0. 12 and 0, you know. But still I'm very happy after that fiasco with the last bourbon. Oh man. 7 wins, 7 losses with that confounding Jethro T. Boots was driving me mad. But now we must leave North America and we must travel across the Atlantic Ocean to the island of Ireland, land of the Ira. I got Canelo winning tonight. Who do you have, Ron? I don't know what you're talking about. I think Paul Pelosi's favorite drink is Canadian Peak. Is it? Well, I don't know. This might be Southeastern Louisiana's best week for football. Well, we're going to see about that. I think Tulane's going to lose. Southeastern could win or lose at 50-50. And LSU is not in the greatest spot. So I'm not too sure what you mean by that. Mississippi State could come in with that air raid and it'd be like a sneak attack on Tiger Stadium, you know, an air raid. But I'm about to turn this off and go turn on the games. Okay, well, I got it right. But what's the question of the hour? Is the Canadian, what they call it, the Crown Royal Bourbon Mash really $12 better than the Canadian Peak? Tulane is undefeated. Yeah, that's about to change in about 3 hours, I'm afraid. But of course, I'd be delighted if it didn't change, but it is, it's going to change. All right. I didn't think the Crown Royal Black was $12 better, but I have to say, I think the Blender's Mash is $12 better. It is better. It's great. It's the Is it the best Crown Royal I've got? That I've tasted so far. You have a great day too, FD. Enjoy the game. I don't know that Northern Harvest Rye, 90% rye, y'all. That's an awesome product. Oh, what a product. Oh, what a product. But the Blender's Mash is great. I'm telling you right now. Now, Canadian Peak, if you've never had it, well, you can try it or not try it. It's kind of like regular, but it's good, but it's good regular, you know what I'm saying? But Crown Royal Bourbon Mash, Blender's Mash, depending on which bottle you find, you gotta try this. You gotta try it. Oh, yes. And I do not work for Diageo. I do not get paid from Diageo or by Diageo. I wish I did. I'd make a Diageo video about 3 times a day, but I don't get anything from them. You see, I have to buy the stuff with my own money. I'm like Brian Wilson. I got to make my own music, But they'll come on like they're peaceful, but inside they're so uptight. They trip through the day. All right. Anyway, it's a great winner, a fabulous winner, a wonderful winner, the fabulous, wonderful Crown Royal Blender's Mash / Bourbon Mash. You gotta buy it. Thanks for watching this video production. And the Irish whiskey's coming on. Next go around, it's going to be time for Irish whiskey. And we all know how popular Irish whiskey is. You say, how popular is it? Oh, the answer, very popular.